You know that moment when everything you thought you knew about yourself just shatters. When a single afternoon rewrites the entire story you've been telling yourself for years. I'm Daniel. I'm 26, work as a graphic designer in Seattle. Up until 3 months ago, I thought I had my life figured out. I had a decent job, a nice apartment in Capitol Hill, and most importantly, I had my best friend. Ethan and I met in college during freshman orientation, both of us awkward. Both of us lost, both of us pretending we knew what we were doing. We bonded over late-night pizza, terrible action movies, and the shared experience of being two queer kids figuring out who we were in a world that didn't always make space for us. For 8 years, Ethan was my constant, my person. The one who knew all my stories, who could finish my sentences, who showed up with ice cream when I got dumped and champagne when I got promoted. But I never looked at him that way. Or at least I convinced myself I didn't. This is the story of how one ordinary Saturday, one broken ankle, one awkward shower, and one moment of unexpected vulnerability turned my entire world upside down. And honestly, I wouldn't change a single second of it. The call came at 2:47 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. I was sprawled on my couch, halfway through a design project that was due Monday, when my phone buzzed. Ethan's name flashed across the screen with a photo I'd taken of him last summer, laughing, his auburn hair catching the sunlight. Those green eyes crinkled at the corners. "Please tell me you're calling to rescue me from this logo design," I answered. Not looking up from my laptop, Daniel. His voice was tight, strained. "I need your help." I sat up immediately. In 8 years of friendship, I'd heard Ethan angry, sad, drunk, ecstatic, but never like this. Never small. "What happened? Where are you?" "I'm at my apartment." Fuck. This is so stupid. I fell. "Are you okay?" A pause. Then, quieter, "I think I broke my ankle." "You think?" "Ethan, have you called 911? "No, I can't afford an ambulance right now. It's probably not that bad, but I can't really walk, and I need. Could you just come over, please?" I was already grabbing my keys. "I'm on my way. Don't move." "Not really an option at the moment," he said, and I could hear him trying to joke through the pain. Ethan lived in Fremont, about 15 minutes from my place in normal traffic. I made it in 9. I found him on his living room floor, propped against the couch, his right foot elevated on a pile of throw pillows. His face was pale, a light sheen of sweat across his forehead, and he was gripping his phone like a lifeline. "Jesus, Ethan." I dropped to my knees beside him, my hand automatically going to his shoulder. "What the hell happened?" "I was changing a light bulb," he said, gesturing weakly toward the kitchen. The step stool slipped. "It's fine. I'm fine. You're not fine. Your ankle is the size of a grapefruit." He looked down at his swollen foot and winced. "It's not that bad. It's purple. It's a very attractive shade of purple." Despite everything, I almost smiled. That was so typically Ethan, deflecting with humor even when he was clearly in pain. "We need to get you to urgent care," I said, standing up and offering my hand. "I can't afford, I'll cover it." "Come on." He looked up at me, something vulnerable flickering in his eyes. "Daniel, you don't have to, Ethan." I kept my hand extended. "Steady. Let me help you, please." After a moment, he took my hand. Getting him up was harder than I expected. He was 6'2", all lean muscle and long limbs, and he couldn't put any weight on his injured foot. I ended up with my arm around his waist, his arm draped over my shoulders. Our bodies pressed close as we hobbled toward the door. I tried not to notice how he smelled like cedar and coffee and something uniquely him. Tried not to notice how perfectly we fit together. His body warm against mine. Tried, failed, 3 hours later. We were back at his apartment, armed with crutches, pain medication, a removable boot, and strict instructions. No weight on the ankle for at least 2 weeks. Elevation, ice, and rest. 2 weeks, Ethan repeated, staring at the boot like it had personally offended him. "I have a presentation on Wednesday." "I have a date on Friday." Something tightened in my chest at the word date, but I ignored it. "You can do the presentation on Zoom and reschedule the date." "Her name's Melissa. We've been messaging for 3 weeks. This was supposed to be our first meeting. Then she'll understand. And if she doesn't, she's not worth your time anyway. Ethan sighed, leaning back against his couch cushions. The apartment was so quintessentially him, vintage movie posters on exposed brick walls, shelves overflowing with books and vinyl records, plants in varying states of thriving and dying on every surface. I can't believe I'm going to be stuck here for 2 weeks, he muttered. You're not stuck. I'll help you. He looked at me, eyebrows raised. Daniel, you have a job. A life. I can work remotely. And my life currently consists of Netflix and disappointing my mother by being single. I think I can spare some time for my best friend. I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm offering. We stared at each other for a long moment, and I watched something shift in his expression, gratitude mixing with something I couldn't quite name. Okay, he said finally. Thank you. Don't mention it. Now have you eaten? He shook his head. When did you last shower? A pause this morning. Before the incident, okay, let's get some food in you, and then we'll figure out the rest. What I didn't know then, what neither of us knew, is that figuring out the rest would include the most awkward, intimate, world-shifting moment of my entire life. I ordered Thai food from Ethan's favorite place, and we ate sitting on his couch, his injured foot propped on the coffee table between takeout containers. We fell into our usual rhythm-trading stories about work, dissecting the latest episode of the show we were both watching, debating whether the new coffee shop on his block was trying too hard, normal, easy, familiar, except it wasn't. Not entirely. Because I couldn't stop noticing things I'd somehow trained myself not to see. The way his eyes lit up when he talked about his work as a high school English teacher. The gesture he made with his hands when he got excited. The small scar above his left eyebrow from a skateboarding accident when he was 14. The way my heart did this stupid little flutter every time he smiled at me. Stop it. I told myself. He's your best friend. Your straight best friend who has a date with a woman named Melissa on Friday. Except, was Ethan straight? We'd come out to each other in college, me as gay, him as bisexual. But in all the years since, I'd only ever seen him date women. It was easier that way, he'd told me once. Less complicated, I'd understood. Or thought I had. Earth to Daniel. Ethan was waving a hand in front of my face. You okay? You zoned out. Sorry, just thinking about work on a Saturday night. You need to get out more, says the man who broke his ankle, changing a light bulb. Touché. We cleaned up dinner well. I cleaned up while Ethan supervised from the couch hand. Then reality set in. It was getting late. Ethan was exhausted. And there was one very practical problem we hadn't addressed. So I said, sitting back down beside him, how are we going to handle logistics? He frowned. What do you mean? I mean, you can't walk. Your bedroom is upstairs. Your bathroom is upstairs. You're supposed to keep your ankle elevated. Understanding dawned on his face. Oh, shit. Yeah. I could sleep down here, he suggested, gesturing to the couch. For 2 weeks. Ethan, you're 6'2". You'd be miserable. I've slept in worse places. That's not the point. We sat in silence for a moment, both of us thinking. I could carry you, I said finally. He laughed. You're kidding. I'm not. You're what, 180? I can handle it. Daniel, you're going to throw out your back. Then we'll both be invalids. Come on, let me at least try. He looked skeptical but didn't argue when I stood up and held out my arms. After a moment's hesitation, he shifted forward, wrapping one arm around my shoulders. I bent down, sliding one arm under his knees, the other around his back, and lifted. He was heavier than I expected, solid and warm in my arms. But I managed, just barely. This is ridiculous, Ethan said, but he was smiling. His face inches from mine. This is friendship, I corrected. Trying to ignore how fast my heart was beating, I carried him up the stairs to his bedroom, a slow, careful process that left us both slightly breathless. When I finally set him down on the edge of his bed, he was looking at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Thank you, he said softly. Anytime. I helped him get settled, made sure he had water and his phone charger within reach, and then hesitated at the door. I'll crash on your couch tonight. Just in case you need anything. Daniel, you don't have to, I know. But I'm going to anyway. Text me if you need help. He nodded, and I could see the exhaustion finally catching up to him. Good night, Daniel. Good night, Ethan. I closed the door and stood in the hallway for a long moment. My heart still racing, my arms still remembering the weight of him. You're in trouble. A voice whispered in the back of my mind. I ignored it. I woke to the sound of thumping overhead. For a disoriented moment, I couldn't remember where I was. Then it came back: Ethan's apartment. Ethan's couch, Ethan's injured ankle. Ethan, who was apparently trying to navigate his bedroom on crutches at 7 in the morning. I was upstairs in seconds. What are you doing? I asked, finding him balanced precariously on one foot. Trying to grab a shirt from his dresser, he startled, nearly dropping the crutch. Jesus, Daniel, you scared me. You're going to fall again. What do you need? I need to get dressed, and I need to use the bathroom, and I need to maintain some shred of dignity. There was an edge to his voice: frustration, embarrassment, something sharper. Okay, I said carefully. How can I help? You can't. That's the problem. We stared at each other. His hair was messy from sleep, sticking up in several directions. He was wearing an old college t-shirt and boxer shorts, and his injured foot was still swollen but less angry looking than yesterday. He looked vulnerable, human, beautiful. Stop, I told myself again. Let me help you to the bathroom, I said. We'll figure out the rest. He hesitated, then nodded. Getting him to the bathroom was easier than the stairs had been. I just provided support while he hopped on his good foot, but when we reached the door, we both paused. I can take it from here, Ethan said. Are you sure? The doctor said I can piss by myself, Daniel. Okay, I'll be right outside if you need me. Listening to the sounds of movement inside running water, the cabinet opening, a stifled curse. When he emerged 10 minutes later, his face was freshly washed and his hair was damp. I really need a shower, he said, not meeting my eyes, and there it was. The problem we'd been dancing around. Okay, I said slowly. How do you want to handle that? I don't know. The boot isn't supposed to get wet. I can't balance on one foot in the shower. Maybe I can just take a bath? Except my tub doesn't have a non-slip mat, and I'd probably drown trying to get in and out. He was spiraling, I could tell. The independent, capable Ethan Hood backpacked through Europe alone and moved to a new city without knowing anyone was struggling with the loss of autonomy. What if I help you? I offered. He finally looked at me. Help me how? I could. I don't know. We could figure it out. Put a chair in the shower. I could help you balance. Keep the boot dry, Daniel. His voice was quiet. That's a lot to ask. Ask! You're not asking? I'm offering. It's going to be awkward. But we've been through worse. That made him smile just a little. Remember sophomore year? The food poisoning incident. I held your hair back while you threw up for 6 hours? I think we can handle a shower. Took a deep breath. Okay, but if this gets too weird, then we'll stop. Deal. Deal. 20 minutes later, we'd gathered supplies. A plastic bag and tape to waterproof the boot. A folding chair from Ethan's kitchen, towels, and his shower stuff. I'd changed into swim trunks I'd found in his closet, left over from some beach trip figuring. It would be less awkward than regular clothes getting wet. Ethan was sitting on the edge of his bed in his boxers, looking anywhere but at me. Ready? I asked, as I'll ever be. He managed to get him to the bathroom. I set up the chair in the shower, tested its stability, and then turned to find Ethan still standing in the doorway. You okay? I asked. Yeah. Just give me a second. I understood. This was a line we'd never crossed. 8 years of friendship, and we'd somehow maintained certain boundaries. We changed in the same room at the gym, sure. We'd seen each other in various states of undress, but this was different. This was intimate in a way that had nothing to do with nudity and everything to do with vulnerability. Take your time, I said after a long moment. He hooked his thumbs in the waistband of his boxers and pushed them down. Stepping out of them quickly and moving to the shower chair before, I could process much beyond a flash of skin. I busied myself with wrapping his boot. Focusing intently on the task, trying not to think about the fact that my best friend was naked 2 feet away from me. Okay, I said when the boot was secured. Let's do this. I helped him onto the chair, making sure he was stable, and then turned on the water, adjusting the temperature. Too hot? I asked. It's fine. I grabbed the shower head, one of those detachable ones, and began carefully wetting his hair, keeping the spray away from the booted foot. Ethan closed his eyes, tilting his head back, and I tried very hard not to notice the line of his throat, the water running down his chest, the way his shoulders relaxed under the warmth. Hand me the shampoo, he said. I passed it to him, and he started washing his hair. I held the shower head, rinsing when he was ready, trying to keep everything practical and functional. But then he winced, reaching for his back. What's wrong? Nothing. Just sore from yesterday. From the fall? Where? He gestured vaguely to his shoulder blade. I think I pulled something when I tried to catch myself. I hesitated. Do you want me to? Could you? I can't really reach. I set down the shower head and grabbed his body wash, squirting some into my palm. Then, carefully, I placed my hands on his back. He tensed immediately. Sorry, I said. Is this okay? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's okay. I started working the soap across his shoulders, trying to be clinical about it, trying to ignore how warm his skin was, how solid the muscles felt under my fingers. But when I pressed gently on a knot near his shoulder blade, he let out a small sound, half pain, half relief, and something shifted. The bathroom was full of steam now, the water creating a curtain of white noise around us. In this small, warm space, the rest of the world felt very far away. A little lower, Ethan said quietly. I moved my hands down his back, working out the tension I found there. His breathing had changed, deeper and slower. My own pulse was racing. It feels really good, he murmured, and that's when I felt it. A shift in the energy between us, subtle but unmistakable. The air felt heavier, charged. I looked down and saw that Ethan was responding. His body was reacting to my touch in a way that was impossible to ignore. We both noticed at the same moment. Time seemed to stop. I stood frozen, my hands still on Ethan's back, the shower water creating a rhythm that suddenly felt too loud in the silence. My brain was short-circuiting. It's caught between pulling away and staying exactly where I was. Ethan's entire body had gone rigid. I'm sorry, he said, his voice strained. I'm so sorry. This is the water. It's just a physical response. It doesn't mean it's okay, I managed, though my own voice sounded strange to my ears. It's not okay. This is mortifying. I could see the back of his neck flushing red, the tension in his shoulders. He was humiliated, and something about his vulnerability. His embarrassment made me braver than I'd ever been. I said softly, Look at me. I really don't think I can right now. Please. After what felt like an eternity, he turned his head, meeting my eyes over his shoulder. His face was flushed, his eyes bright with something that might have been shame or fear or something else entirely. It's okay, I repeated. It's just biology. It happens. Not helping. You don't have to be embarrassed, he laughed, a sharp, almost bitter sound. Right, because this isn't the most awkward moment of my entire life. Want to know a secret? I heard myself say. He blinked. What? You're not the only one. Affected. Yet the words hung in the steamy air between us. I watched understanding dawn on his face, followed by something that looked like shock. Daniel, okay. We can pretend this didn't happen, I said quickly. Finish the shower. Forget about it. Go back to being normal. Or. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. Or we could be honest. For once. Honest about what? About the fact that this isn't just biology. About the fact that I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. About the fact that somewhere along the way, you stopped being just my best friend and became more. The confession spilled out before I could stop it. 8 years of carefully buried feelings rising to the surface all at once. Ethan stared at me, water still running over his shoulders, his eyes searching my face for something truth, maybe, or permission, or proof that this was really happening. How long? He asked finally. I don't know. Maybe always. Maybe just recently. Does it matter? It might. How long have you known? I countered. His throat worked as he swallowed. Yesterday, when you carried me up the stairs, the way you looked at me, I thought I was imagining it. But then just now, when you touched me, he broke off, shaking his head. God, Daniel. What are we doing? I don't know. But I'm tired of pretending. Pretending what? That I don't notice the way you smile. That I don't memorize the things you say. That I don't want. I trailed off, not quite brave enough to finish the sentence. Want what? His voice was barely above a whisper. I stepped closer. Still outside the shower spray, near enough that I could see the water droplets clinging to his eyelashes. You, I said simply. I want you. For a long moment, neither of us moved. The shower continued to run, steam billowing around us. And I wondered if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. Then Ethan reached out and grabbed my wrist, his fingers warm and wet against my skin. Turn off the water, he said. I did, my hand shaking slightly as I twisted the knob. The sudden silence was deafening. Help me up, Ethan said. I helped him stand, carefully supporting his weight, and grabbed a towel to wrap around his waist, then another for his shoulders. We stood in the small bathroom, water dripping onto the tile, both of us breathing too fast. We need to talk about this, Ethan said. I know. 8 years, Daniel. 8 years of friendship. If we do this, whatever this is, and it doesn't work out, I know, I said again. We could ruin everything. Yeah, but what if we don't? He looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw my own confusion and hope and fear reflected in his eyes. I have a date on Friday, he said. With Melissa, I remember. I was going to cancel anyway. Even before this. Why? Because she's not you. The words hit me like a physical thing, stealing my breath. Ethan, you've been trying, he continued, his words coming faster now, like a dam breaking. For years, I've been trying to find someone who makes me feel the way you do, who gets me the way you do, who knows all my stupid stories and still wants to be around me. And I kept telling myself it was because we're friends, because we have history. But that's bullshit. It's because I'm in love with you. I think I have been for a really long time. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Could only stare at this man I'd known for 8 years and somehow never really seen until now. Say something? Ethan said, and I could hear the vulnerability in his voice. Instead of speaking, I closed the distance between us and kissed him. It was careful at first. Tentative a question more than a statement. But then Ethan's hand came up to cup the back of my head, his fingers threading through my damp hair, and the kiss deepened into something that felt like coming home. He tasted like mint toothpaste and something sweet. His lips were soft, his jaw rough with stubble against my skin. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Wow, Ethan said. Yeah, what do we do now? I laughed, slightly giddy. I have absolutely no idea. We should probably get me dry, and dressed, and into bed before I fall over. Practical as always, one of us has to be. But he smiled when he said it, and his hand found mine, our fingers lacing together naturally, like they'd been made to fit. Getting Ethan dried off and dressed took on an entirely different energy now. Every touch felt charged. Every accidental brush of skin sent electricity through me. We didn't talk much. There was too much to say, and not enough words to say it. But the silence felt comfortable. Warm. I helped him into a pair of sweatpants and a clean t-shirt, then got him settled on his bed. His injured ankle, elevated on pillows. I should probably go, I said, though I made no move toward the door, or you could stay. Ethan, not like that. I mean, not that I wouldn't want. He stopped, flushing. I just mean we should talk. Really talk. Figure out what this means. He was right. We'd crossed the line, and now we needed to navigate what came next. I sat on the edge of the bed, angling myself to face him. Okay, let's talk. I don't want to lose you, Ethan said immediately. If we try this dating or whatever and it doesn't work, I can't lose my best friend. You won't, no matter what happens. You won't. You can't promise that. I can try. He was quiet for a moment, studying my face. What do you want, Daniel? Really want? Honestly, I want everything. I want to take you on dates. I want to hold your hand in public. I want to kiss you goodnight and wake up next to you in the morning. I want to be the person you call when something good happens and the person who holds you when something bad happens. I want all of it. That's a lot. Too much. No. He reached for my hand, threading our fingers together again. Not too much. Just scary. Terrifying. I agreed. We live in different neighborhoods. We work different jobs. What if we want different things long term? Then we'll figure it out. That's what people do when they care about each other. And you care about me? I leaned closer, close enough to see the flecks of gold in his green eyes. Ethan, I'm in love with you. I don't know when it started or how it happened, but I am completely, irrevocably in love with you. His breath caught. You mean that? Every word. I love you too, he whispered. God, I love you so much it scares me. I kissed him again, slower this time, savoring it. When we pulled apart, he was smiling. So what now? He asked. Now we take it one day at a time. We figure this out together. I like the sound of that. Me too. We spent the rest of Sunday in Ethan's bed, not doing anything scandalous, just talking. Really talking, the way we'd always talked, but with a new layer of honesty and intimacy that made everything feel both familiar and brand new. We talked about the moments we'd almost realized our feelings, the near misses and the what ifs. Remember junior year? Ethan said. When you dated that guy Marcus for like 3 months? Ooh, don't remind me. I hated him. I told myself it was because he was kind of pretentious. But looking back, he shook his head. I was jealous, you were. So jealous. You'd cancel plans with me to see him, and I felt like I was losing you. I started dating Sarah right after that. Sarah, who worked at the coffee shop? Yeah, she was nice, but I think I was just trying to distract myself from how I felt about you. I did the same thing, I admitted. Every time you'd start dating someone new, I'd convince myself I needed to find someone too. Like if I was in a relationship, I wouldn't have to think about why it bothered me so much that you were with someone else. We're idiots. Certified. He laughed. And it felt good. Natural. Like we were finding our way back to ourselves. Just with bonus kissing privileges, around dinner time, I ordered pizza, and we ate in bed. Ethan's laptop balanced between us as we watched our favorite show. His head ended up on my shoulder, my arm around his waist, and it felt so right that I wondered how we'd missed this for so long. I should probably head home tonight, I said reluctantly when the episode ended. I need to grab my work stuff if I'm going to be here during the week. Or, Ethan said, turning to look at me, you could stay. I have an extra toothbrush. You can borrow my clothes. And honestly, I sleep better when you're here. Yeah. So I stayed. We got ready for bed together, me helping him brush his teeth and wash his face. Both of us laughing when we bumped into each other in the small bathroom. I changed into a pair of his sweatpants and an old t-shirt, and when I climbed into bed beside him, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. Come here, Ethan said, opening his arms. I settled against his chest, careful of his injured leg, and felt his heartbeat steady and strong beneath my ear. This okay? He asked. Perfect, Daniel. Thank you. For everything. for being here, for helping me, for this. I tilted my head up to kiss his jaw. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. We fell asleep like that, tangled together, and I had never felt more at peace. Monday morning brought a return to reality, or at least a new version of it. I woke before Ethan, sunlight streaming through his bedroom window, and took a moment to just look at him. His hair was messy, his lips slightly parted, one hand flung across the pillow. He looked young and unguarded, and something in my chest tightened with affection. This was real. This was happening. I carefully extracted myself from the bed and headed downstairs to make coffee. While it brewed, I checked my phone and found several messages from my boss about the project I was supposed to be working on. Plus, a text from my mom asking if I was still coming to dinner next Sunday. The normalcy of it felt surreal. The world had kept turning while my entire life had shifted on its axis. Morning, Ethan's voice came from behind me. I turned to find him balancing on his crutches in the doorway, looking rumpled and beautiful. "You're supposed to stay in bed," I said. Moving to help him. "I wanted to see you," was coming right back. I'm impatient. I kissed him, unable to resist. "How's the ankle?" "Sore, but better. The swelling's going down." "Good? Coffee?" "Please." We settled on the couch, coffee mugs in hand, and I pulled his injured leg across my lap, adjusting the pillows beneath it. "I need to tell you something," Ethan said after a moment. My stomach clenched. "Okay, I haven't been completely honest with you." "About my sexuality? What do you mean?" He took a deep breath. "I told you I was bi in college, and I am. But the reason I've mostly dated women isn't because it's easier or less complicated. It's because I was scared." "Scared of what?" "Of this, of what I felt for you. Every time I thought I might be falling for you, I'd panic and find a girlfriend. Someone safe. Someone who wasn't you. Because if I admitted how I felt, I'd have to risk everything. Our friendship, our history, all of it. And I couldn't." His voice cracked slightly. "I couldn't imagine my life without you in it." I set down my coffee and pulled him closer. "You don't have to imagine it. I'm not going anywhere. But what if we screw this up? What if we're better as friends? We won't know unless we try. And yeah, maybe it won't work out. Maybe we'll discover that we drive each other crazy or want different things. But Ethan, I'd rather try and fail than spend the rest of my life wondering what if." He rested his forehead against mine. "When did you get so brave?" "I learned from the best." "Liar, you've always been the brave one." We sat like that for a while, just breathing together, and I felt something settle inside me. A sense of rightness that I'd been missing without even realizing it. "I continue 409 Amneed to tell people," Ethan said eventually. "My parents, my friends, that were." "What are we exactly?" "What do you want us to be?" "I want you to be my boyfriend." "If you want that too, boyfriend?" The word sent a thrill through me. "Yeah, I definitely want that. Okay, so boyfriends. We should tell people. Are you worried about how they'll react?" "My parents will be fine. They already love you. Might be a little surprised, but they'll be supportive." He paused. "What about your mom?" I winced. My relationship with my mother was complicated. She'd struggled when I came out, though she'd eventually come around. But she still made comments about me settling down, finding the right person, as if she was hoping my sexuality might be a phase. "I'll tell her," I said. "Eventually. Let's just take it one step at a time." "One step at a time," Ethan agreed. The week that followed was a study in domesticity and discovery. I worked from Ethan's apartment, setting up my laptop at his kitchen table while he graded papers from the couch. We fell into an easy rhythm: coffee in the morning, lunch together, afternoon work sessions punctuated by conversations and stolen kisses. Every evening, I helped him shower. It became our ritual, intimate and tender, a time when the rest of the world fell away and it was just us. We talked about everything and nothing: our fears, our dreams, our favorite childhood memories. I learned things I'd never known. That Ethan sang in the shower when he thought no one was listening. That he had a small birthmark on his left hip shaped like a comma. That he made this tiny sound of contentment when I massaged his shoulders. He learned things about me too. That I always woke up at 6 a.m., even on weekends. that I organized my desk supplies by color, that I fell asleep fastest when someone was playing with my hair. We learned how to be together, not just as friends, but as partners. Wednesday. Ethan had his work presentation via Zoom. I helped him set up his laptop in bed, made sure his notes were organized, and then sat just out of frame while he talked passionately about teaching Shakespeare to teenagers. Watching him in his element, confident, articulate, funny, I fell a little more in love. Thursday, we had our first fight. It was stupid. Really something about whose turn it was to choose what we watched on TV, but it escalated, touching on deeper insecurities. Ethan accused me of being controlling. I accused him of being stubborn. We both said things we didn't mean. I left, driving home to my apartment for the first time in days. My chest tight with anger and hurt. I lasted 2 hours before I turned around and drove back. I found Ethan where I'd left him, on the couch, staring at nothing. His eyes were red. "I'm sorry," I said from the doorway. "I'm sorry too. I was being an ass. I shouldn't have tried to control everything." "You're right. I do that sometimes. I get defensive." "I know I do." I sat beside him, and he immediately curled into me, his head on my shoulder. "We're going to fight sometimes," I said. "That's normal." "I know. I was so scared you wouldn't come back." "Ethan, I will always come back. Even when we fight? Especially when we fight. That's what this means. We work through it together." "Together," he repeated, like he was testing the word. Together, we made up slowly, talking through what had really bothered us, learning how to communicate better. It wasn't easy, but it felt important, like we were building something real. Friday afternoon, Ethan's phone rang. His mother. "Hey, Mom," he answered, putting her on speaker. "How's the ankle? Your father and I wanted to come visit this weekend. Bring you some food." Ethan looked at me, a question in his eyes. I nodded. "Actually, Mom, there's something I need to tell you." "Is everything okay?" "Everything's great. Better than great, actually. Daniel and I are dating." Silence on the other end. "Then Daniel? Your best friend Daniel?" "Yeah. The Daniel who's been staying with you all week." "The very same." Another pause. Then his mother laughed, warm and delighted. "Oh, thank God. Your father owes me $50. "What?" Ethan looked stunned. "We had a bet. I said you two would figure it out eventually. Your father thought you were both too oblivious." "Yeah." "You're not surprised? Honey, we've been waiting for this since you brought him home for Thanksgiving sophomore year." The way you look at each other. We knew Ethan was blushing furiously. "So you're okay with it?" "Okay with it? We're thrilled. Daniel's wonderful. We already love him. And you're happy? Really happy? And that's all that matters. Now, tell us what happened." We spent the next hour on the phone with Ethan's parents, telling the story of the shower incident edited for parental consumption and answering their excited questions. They insisted on coming over Saturday to celebrate, and when we hung up, Ethan looked dazed. "That went well," I said. "My mom bet on us. My parents have been shipping us for 4 years. Shipping. She learned the term from her students. She's very proud of it." I laughed. "Well, I guess we were the last to know. Apparently." That evening, we started telling friends. We created a group chat with our closest people and sent a simple message. "So, Ethan and I are dating now. Thought you should know." The responses came flooding in. Finally. "Took you long enough? I've been waiting for this since 2019. Does this mean I won the pool?" There was a pool. We read through the messages together, laughing, occasionally mortified by how obvious we'd apparently been. "Everyone knew," Ethan said, shaking his head. "Everyone except us. We're terrible at this. The worst." But I was smiling. And so was he, and surrounded by the love and support of our people. I felt like maybe we were going to be okay. Saturday came with sunshine and the arrival of Ethan's parents, laden with casserole dishes and baked goods. His mom, Margaret, hugged me for a solid minute. "I'm so happy for you both," she whispered. His dad, Robert, shook my hand firmly. take care of him always. We had lunch together, the four of us, plus two of Ethan's friends who'd driven up from Portland. It felt celebratory and normal and right. Like we'd always been this, even though everything had changed less than a week ago. After lunch, Margaret cornered me in the kitchen while I was loading the dishwasher. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Of course. How long have you been in love with my son?" I blinked, surprised by the directness. I'm not sure. Maybe always, in some way. "He's been in love with you for at least 4 years. Probably longer? For years?" She smiled. "He doesn't know I know. But a mother knows. I watched him watch you at Thanksgiving that year. The way his whole face lit up when you walked in the room. The way he found excuses to touch you, your shoulder, your arm. And I thought, oh, there it is. Why didn't you say anything?" "Because he needed to figure it out himself. And you did too. These things can't be rushed." She placed a hand on my arm. "But I'm glad you found each other. You're good for him. You make him brave. He makes me brave too. And you're perfect for each other." Sunday evening, 2 weeks after the fall, Ethan had a follow-up appointment. The doctor removed the boot, examined the ankle, and declared it healed enough for limited weight-bearing activity. "You can start using it again," the doctor said, carefully. "No running or jumping, but you should be back to normal in another week or two." Walking out of the clinic, Ethan, without his crutches for the first time in 2 weeks, felt symbolic somehow, like we were both stepping into something new. "I can go back to my place," Ethan said as we drove back to his apartment. "Do you want to?" "No, but I figured I should offer. You've been here 2 weeks. You probably need your space." I pulled over to the side of the road and turned to face him. "Ethan, I don't want space. I want you. If anything, these 2 weeks have shown me that I want more time together, not less." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying, what if we looked for a place? Together?" His eyes widened. "You want to move in together? Eventually? I know it's fast, but we've already been living together for 2 weeks, and it works." "We work, Daniel. That's huge." "I know. And if you're not ready, we can wait. But I wanted you to know that's what I want. A future with you. All of it." He was quiet for a long moment, and I started to worry I'd pushed too hard. Then he smiled, slow and warm. "I want that too. Maybe not right this second. I think we should probably date for more than a week before we sign a lease together. But yes, eventually, I want all of it too." Relief and joy flooded through me. Yeah. I kissed him there in my parked car, and it felt like a promise. 3 months later, I was standing in our new apartment, not mine or his, but ours, hanging pictures on the wall. The place was in Capitol Hill. Walking distance from my favorite coffee shop and Ethan's favorite bookstore, it had exposed brick and huge windows and just enough space for both our lives to fit together comfortably. A little to the left, Ethan called from where he was sitting on our couch. His ankle fully healed now, directing my picture hanging with the precision of someone who'd spent 8 years. Watching me obsess over design details, I adjusted the frame. Better. Perfect. I stepped back to admire a toe photo from last month. The two of us at Pride, Ethan's arm around my shoulders. Both of us grinning like idiots, rainbow flags waving in the background. It had been a good 3 months. Not perfect. We'd had more fights, more moments of figuring each other out, more growing pains. But good, really, truly good. Ethan's teaching contract had been renewed. My design firm had promoted me. We learned how to navigate sharing space, sharing lives, sharing ourselves. We'd learned that Ethan was a morning person, and I needed at least 2 cups of coffee before I could be civil. That I stress cleaned and he stress baked. That we both had trauma around vulnerability that we were working through. Together, we'd learned how to love each other. Not just as friends, but as partners. "Come here," Ethan said now. Patting the couch beside him, I sat, and he immediately pulled me close, pressing a kiss to my temple. "Happy?" he asked deliriously, "even though I burned dinner last night? Even though I keep stealing your hoodies? especially because of that. You look better in them anyway, he laughed, and I felt it vibrate through his chest. I love you, you know that? No. I love you too. We sat in comfortable silence, looking around our new home, and I thought about how far we'd come. From that afternoon 3 months ago, one broken ankle, one awkward shower, one moment that had changed everything. Hey, Daniel. Ethan said, Thank you. For helping me shower that day. For being brave enough to tell me how you felt. For all of this. I turned to look at him. This man who'd been my best friend for 8 years, and my boyfriend for 3 months, and who I hoped would be my partner for the rest of my life. You know what the funny thing is? I said, what? I'd do it all again. Every awkward moment, every scary conversation, every risk. I'd do it all again just to end up right here. Right here. Right here. With you, he kissed me then, slow and sweet, and I tasted the future in it, not just days and weeks, but years. Decades, maybe. A whole life built on the foundation of friendship and love and that one perfect, awkward, life-changing shower. When we finally pulled apart, Ethan was smiling. So, what do you want to do for dinner? Since I burned it last night, I owe you. Pizza. Again, it's tradition. We had pizza the first night I stayed over. That was supposed to be a one-time thing, and look how that turned out. He laughed again, and I captured the sound in my memory, adding it to the collection of moments that made up our story. Our story. Not his or mine, but ours. And it was only just beginning. A year is both a long time, to no time at all. It's long enough to learn someone's every habit and quirk. To navigate seasons together, to weather storms, both literal and metaphorical. To build a life that feels solid and real. It's also fast, the blink of breath. A series of moments strung together like lights on a wire dot. Today marks exactly 1 year since. Ethan fell off that step stool and I carried him up the stairs. 1 year since everything changed in a steam-filled bathroom. We're having a party, nothing huge, just our closest friends and family. Celebrating our new apartment and our 1 year anniversary, and the simple fact that we found each other. Ethan's in the kitchen, pulling a not-burned lasagna out of the oven, laughing at something his mom is saying. His dad is showing my mother photos on his phone, probably embarrassing ones from college. Our friends are scattered throughout the apartment, drinking wine and arguing good-naturedly about everything and nothing. I watch Ethan from across the room. I'm struck by how normal this all feels. How right. Like this was always where we were headed, and we just needed time to get here. He catches me looking and smiles. That same smile I've known for 8 years, but that still makes my heart skip. Later, after everyone has left and we're cleaning up together, he'll pull me close and whisper, "Best year of my life." And I'll say, "Mine too," because it has been. Not perfect, we've had arguments and misunderstandings and moments of doubt. We've learned that love isn't always easy, isn't always comfortable, but it's worth it. Every single day, it's worth it. That night, lying in bed with Ethan's head on my chest, his breathing slow and steady as he drifts off to sleep, I think about that afternoon a year ago, how terrified I was, how certain I was that I might lose him, and I think about now, about this life we've built, about waking up next to him every morning and falling asleep beside him every night, about the ring I've been carrying in my pocket for 2 weeks, waiting for the right moment, about the future not scary anymore, but bright and full of possibility. "Hey, Ethan," I whisper into the darkness. He's mostly asleep already. "I love you. Love you too," he murmurs, pressing a sleepy kiss to my chest, and lying there in our apartment, in our bed, with the man who used to be just my best friend and is now so much more. I know with absolute certainty this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is home.